Welcome back to It's Naturally Nat. Well, here we are today with more rhubarb. As a news update, I can't remember if I said it last time, and I'm always repeating myself anyway. The pie was eaten by mostly my housemate and Daniel the cameraman. I didn't go to the bike shop, but with more requests for rhubarb dishes, we're gonna make today my own fantastic rhubarb crisp. And you know what? You can't trust a recipe card unless it's messy looking like this and has preferably stains on it. You know what I'm talking about? You guys ever do that? So you have basically two parts to the rhubarb crisp, or really kind of any crisp. You have the crispy topping, and then you have the gooey, sweet thing on the bottom, whatever that is. So today what we're going to be using for a baking dish is a 8x8 buttered dish, and this is a to-go rhubarb dish because Daniel's going to take this, the cameraman's going to take this home with him when he leaves, when we get done today.
I can't wait.
8x8 is what you need. Normally I use glass Pyrex, but if you've got one of these and you want to give it to a neighbor or a friend, that's fine too. So the first thing you want to do is, just like with the rhubarb pie, and they both use surprisingly the same amount of rhubarb. So this is 4 cups of, not minced, but a small dice rhubarb that I got ready to go. If you don't have one of these 4-cup deals, you got to get one. I have many measuring cups, and the 4-cup deals I use all the time, especially if you have little kids or somebody's talking to you when you're cooking and you have to have 4 cups of something like this. It's so easy to look over into your bowl and say, how much did I have in there? Was it 2 cups, 3 cups? Doggone it. And then you got to go measure it. But you do this and you just space out until you have it full and you have your 4 cups. What we're going to do is we're going to mix the 4 cups of rhubarb with, double checking from my recipe, which will be in the notes after this video, a 1/2 to 3/4 cup of sugar and a 1/2 cup flour. That's what I got in here. And you want, and this kind of goes with the rhubarb pie too, you want a little bit more sugar if it's old rhubarb, meaning not old in your fridge, but towards the end of the season, because that rhubarb is the most bitter. Early rhubarb is at the very beginning of the season, and that you can almost snack on. It's already got some sweet, but just a little bitter. So what I did here is I went on the 1/2 as opposed to the 3/4 cup of white granulated sugar, because it's not really late rhubarb that I have, and I want to kind of make it a tiny bit healthier, and anytime you can cut it back a little sugar is good, right? So the first thing I want to do is I want to just set this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix the rhubarb with the flour sugar combo, and hopefully I won't need to get a bigger bowl. And I'm going to probably just use my hands. They're clean. I just washed them, because you want to make sure you get that mixture really evenly coated. If you don't get it evenly coated, you're going to get a watery crisp, and that kind of goes against the name, rhubarb crisp. So you want to make sure you get it mixed really good. Probably use a bigger bowl than this, but I'm going to have to ask my sister for better cooking bowls for Christmas, because I end up using the most ragtag things I have over and over again, due to lack of space mostly. So you get this pretty good mix. This should take you a couple minutes, and no hurries on that. Another thing that you're going to want to have for this recipe, and I went ahead and did that, is you're going to need a, how much is it here? 1/3 cup butter, melted, because that's going to go in the crisp part, which is this over here I want to talk about in a minute. I'm just going to make sure I got this really mixed. And again, I think the hands, best things you can use here. And when I'm going to get this thoroughly mixed, then I'm going to put it in that pan here. And if I have just a little bit of flour sugar on top, for maybe not having it totally perfectly mixed, that's fine too. I'll sprinkle that on top. But it should look like this. You can see how this is. I don't know if that sun's hurting or helping. There we go. It should look like that. Now I'm going to transfer it over to the pan. Give this another zhug. How do you guys like this glass? Don't you agree? Dogs and wine make life better. It is Friday after all, and it is happy hour. Now see how I have just a little bit of flour and sugar here? That's okay. Just sprinkle it on like that. And then go ahead and push it out to the sides, and you should be good to go, which I am. And that should look like this. Now we're gonna move on to the crispy topping. Now everybody does theirs a little different. Let me read what we have in this topping. We have 3/4 of cup of brown sugar, hence right there. 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of, I have to put my glasses on, I can't read my own handwriting here. Oh, 1/2 cup of oats. And by oats, I mean like the dry oats you get in the cylindrical thing, you know, that you make oatmeal with. That's what you want to use.
Does it like matter if it's like 1 minute instant or 2 minute instant, or just?
It doesn't matter. Just don't use the kind that come in a little bag, the instant ones that come in a box, because that's a different whole thing. You don't want that. And those are flavored. You want the plain oats, you know, with the old guy on the outside of the, you know what I'm talking about, that kind. And then what I do is I throw in a small handful of flaxseed, and I throw in 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Because why? Well, the chia seeds add a little bit, especially to a dry mix like this, add a little bit of crunch. They're crunchy anyway, and they're super healthy. You could also add in a 1/2 tablespoon of hemp heart seeds. That would be good too. And then the flaxseed, of course, is just super good, super healthy for you, and it kind of adds to the crunch. So I have all those things in there. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and then the 1/3 cup of butter, which I'm going to add at the end. But I'm going to use my hands, just like I said with the other one, and I'm going to just break this out. I think there was a, I don't know what that was. It was a black speck, but I got it out of there. I didn't like what it was. All right, give it a good mix like that, then you should be good to go. And you always have those naughty brown sugar clumps. Make sure that you really go through that good. So it should look like this. See how that's pretty well? You see those little chia seeds there? Even though I'm going to add butter, don't worry, they won't puff up like they will in a smoothie. They'll just get crunchy like a poppy seed. And again, they just add more health to it.
Do they tend to like absorb extra moisture too?
Yes. So if you add them to a smoothie, they'll make your smoothie into a pudding overnight. So they're tricky little things. I don't know why they do that, but they do. Now, here's where I might want to use my mix. So I have my melted butter. Now, if you notice, it's going to have the kind of the texture, if you will, of sand, I guess you could say, almost. And that's kind of what you want. This shouldn't be liquidy, and it shouldn't be totally dry. And I'm going to use my hands now to make sure that it gets totally like sand. You want it totally like sand. Now we're at where you kind of need to be. See where that's at? That's kind of where you want that. Just like sand. Then, what you want to do here is sprinkle it. And I know it looks like we got way too much topping, but you know what? The topping is the best part. Honestly. You want all that topping spread out. And if you got a little bit of dry on top, that's okay. That's just going to dry out and get extra crispy. When you have an 8x8 like this, here's a really super good tip. Rather than just throwing this thing into the oven, you remember last time when I made the pie, the rhubarb pie, put it on a cookie sheet, which I'm going to do. I forgot to pull one out. Put this on the cooking sheet before you put it in, because I have a feeling this might bubble over a titch, and I hate cleaning the oven, so I always make sure if anything bubbles over that it's going to be fine. So I'm going to throw this in the oven. I'm going to bake this from anywhere to 40 to 60 minutes. Now remember, I mentioned before I'm at a high elevation, so it will take me longer, but if you were on the flatlands in the Midwest, it could be ready as early as 40 minutes. So just make sure to check on your oven even though your timer hasn't got off. So I will see you when it is done. Hold on, and I'll pull it out when it's done. Welcome back to It's Naturally Nat. It's been about 45 minutes. I snuck up here and gave it another look-see, and I think it's ready to go. So I'm going to pull it out of the oven and we'll take a look at it. I got it on my cookie sheet. It didn't boil over, or bubble over, excuse me. But look at that. And look at that little crusty. As it calms down, Obviously you don't want to dig into it right away, but once this cools down, the top will get more crispy. Once it's completely room temperature, it'll be really crispy on top. But there you have it. Rhubarb crisp. Find the recipe down below, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day, evening, night.